Hello and welcome to the Wine Educate podcast, where we explore WSET education, study tips, and practical advice for wine enthusiasts and professionals. This is episode 8, and today we're talking about WSET Level 2 award in wines, what to expect, and how to prepare. So this is a biggie, and even though the podcast is in its infancy, you all have been asking for this one. I was going to wait a bit, but you're asking for it, so I'm going to go ahead and record it. So we are going to discuss a little bit about what to expect, the learning outcomes and the class structure of Level 2, how to prepare using the study materials, that's the textbook and specification, and the SAT card, how to start practicing your tasting, and some really useful study tips. So I will say, all of this, it's good advice. I'm putting it out there, but just like everything, it's kind of up to you guys to put in the work and to do all the things, right? So what can you expect also about in taking this course? We're going to talk about that at the end. What's the class like? All right. So we teach Level 2 in a few different ways. The class is set up in 8 2-hour sessions. So we teach it over 8 weeks, so one class per week, or in a more intensive format where we teach 2 classes a day for 4 weeks. Usually we do that on a Monday, kind of helpful for service industry folks who in the quieter times of their seasons, so maybe January, August, things like that, can kind of get it accomplished. And then we have a 3-day Level 2 intensive. This is for people that really their schedule's kind of erratic and this is the only time they can fit it in. Or if you're coming to New Orleans to take Level 2 with us, Wine Educate, coming from out of town, this is a good way to take it over the course of 3 days. All right, what are we doing in Level 2? So we're building on some of the Level 1 knowledge, but there is a lot more going on here. Essentially, Level 2 is really focusing in on the grape varietal and where it's grown, the styles of wines that it can make. We're discussing things like climate, how climate can affect the style of the wine that's produced. Also, what the winemaker can do, that the oak usage, things like malolactic and lees aging. We also go into greater detail on fortified wines and sparkling wines. These are such fun topics. I really, really love talking about them. So, a lot of information happening here. Also, we continue on with the storage, service, and food pairing principles. When I tell you that the same question can show up in a Level 1 exam, a Level 2 exam, and a Level 3 exam, it's happened. It just happened. So we just did our Level 3 exams. I'm like, oh, there it is. There's the food and wine pairing question. Oh, there's the how to open a bottle of wine. Bottle of sparkling wine question that showed up in both of the Level 3 exams. So good to get these topics solidified and learn them really well. We are also tasting in Level 2, tasting quite a lot. And that to me is the big benefit of this course. In each session, we're tasting 6 wines. So we have an hour for the lecture, and then we get settled in and taste through 6 wines that are relevant to the lesson that we just learned. We do not taste these wines blind, so you know what's in front of you, you know what you're tasting. This is really to get you comfortable with using the SAT and to give you practice, right? So over the course of 8 weeks, you're doing 48 wines. That's pretty great. That's a lot of good practice for you. So not blind, and you are not going to be tested on your tasting for Level 2. It's really to help you learn all these different wine styles and concepts. It's also fun to talk about it in class. Now, I do make you speak up a little bit, but I promise it's not scary. We go around the room, so each person will say something that they smell and move on to the next person. And I do that because I want you all to hear what your fellow classmates are saying. If I sit in the front of the room and just rattle off my tasting note, that's not very interesting. I want to hear what you all have to say. And it is a really good way for you to start using that muscle of like, I can think about it, but I need to verbalize it. And that's really the trick of wine tasting. We all have the ability. It's just putting in the practice, right? Okay, so what is that exam like at the end after you've gone through all 8 sessions on a separate time frame? You'll have a 1-hour exam, and you have 50 multiple choice questions. The pass mark on this is 55%. So 55% or higher, and you pass. But unlike level 1, we now have different levels of passing. So there's pass, and that's 55% to 69%. Pass with merit is between 70 and 84, and pass with distinction is 85% or higher. And that's what we really want to go for, isn't it? We want that pass with distinction. And if you do not pass, you can retake the exam, not a problem. And you could still get pass with distinction, even if you take it once and are unsuccessful. However, once you take the exam and get a passing grade, that's your grade, okay? So if you pass and you pass with merit, you can't sort of say, Joanne, I want another try. That's your grade, okay? You can't take it again and then get pass with distinction, unfortunately. So it's best to be really prepared for that first exam sit and get your pass with distinction. Okay, so how to prepare for the course? First of all, why am I saying this? Why do we need to prepare? Well, it's not all just about doing well, okay? I want you to do well, but also I want you to enjoy the class. I want you to really enjoy showing up to class and get a lot out of it. And if you come to class and you maybe haven't done the reading and you don't know what we're talking about that day, you really, you're not going to get the most out of it, right? So I want you to really enjoy class. Your study materials. Okay, your main study material is your WSET textbook. It is titled Wines, Looking Behind the Label. So here's what you do with this book, okay? Before you even step foot in class, read the whole thing. Read it cover to cover and get a good feel for what it's all about, what the material is all about. And then before each class, you could read the chapter that pertains to the material being covered in class. So it's therefore like a review. And then I recommend at that time, you can make your flashcards, okay? We offer flashcards. We sell the level 2 flashcards. Many other schools and other folks also have flashcards available. That's great. But there's no substitute for you making your own flashcards. I still have my diploma flashcards. The rubber band has disintegrated, but I still have them, and it fits in 2 whole plastic boxes of flashcards. And purely the exercise of making those, that active learning, was tremendously helpful. Another benefit is that when you roll over, if you're taking level 3, you have those flashcards as a refresher, which is a really good tool. A caution against using a highlighter with this textbook, okay? The information is dense. Every single sentence contains something really useful and possibly testable. And not even just the text itself, the little side boxes and the comments on the photos. It is rich with information, dense. So put the highlighter aside, and a better thing to use would be to make the flashcards, right? Okay, and you know what's next? You know I'm going to talk about the specification. Every single WSET class has a specification that goes along with it, and no matter where you're taking your class, that APP is required to have a link to that specification on the website. So it should be pretty easy for you to get your hands on it. I'll put it in the show notes for you. It's on our website as well. Take a look at it. Okay, so take a look at it. I would encourage you to print it out. Why not? It's 29 pages long. Take you maybe an hour to give it a good old read and look through. But I want you to do that because I want you to look at it before you come to class. So if you have specific questions for me, we can talk about it day one and we can move on from there. It also tells you everything you need to know. It really is your guide. And it also gives you clues as to where to focus your studies. The learning outcomes. I'm not going to list all the learning outcomes on the podcast. You can read those for yourself, but it does show you how the points are weighted on the exams based on the learning outcomes. So learning outcomes 3 and 4 combined make up 31 of the questions on the test. So that's some good information to know. It also provides you with an outline of the material. And I think this is really useful because you can take this outline that they have created and expand upon it. So make your own Google Doc or whatever you use and sort of fill in that information, flesh it out. Again, it's another good active learning practice that will help this information set in. Another good reason to do it is that when you transition into level 3, just like with your level 2 flashcards, you have your level 2 outline, and then you can fill in that information with the level 3 information, of which is a lot because it's a big jump. But you're expected to know, not just know, you expect to have mastered the level 2 material before you start level 3 because they're just going to assume that you know it and then you need to build upon it. So the outline is a really good tool for that. In the specification, there's also some exam questions. They tell you how the exam works. They'll give you a little practice there. There's also a list of recommended samples. We will be using the majority of these samples in class. So there's no need to rush out and buy these samples. Certainly if you're just buying wine for the house or you're out at a restaurant, you can keep that in mind as that these are certain styles of wines that will be important for level 2. So you can look out for them to get more practice and trying them. Okay, study tips. In the specification, they talk about something called total qualification time, or TQT. That's 28 hours, meaning 17 hours of that is guided learning hours. So that's 16 hours of class time plus the 1 hour for the exam. But what I really want you to look at is their recommended hours of private study. So they recommend 11 hours of private study that if you're taking an 8-week class, that breaks up into about 1.3 hours per week. That feels a little lean to me. And feedback I've received from past students is that it's north of that. A little more time than that is needed. So I would say double it, make it 3 hours a week study time. So that's like rereading the chapters, making your flashcards, reviewing your flashcards, things like that. Okay? So what you need to do, you need to read the textbook. You need to create that outline and your flashcards. And if you want to take it a step further, if you are a visual learner like me, make your own maps. I found this so tremendously useful in my studies. When I was taking the diploma ages ago and I was living in the Upper East Side. I was living in Spanish Harlem in New York. And, if you've ever lived in New York, if you go anywhere, it's a lot of effort. You got to leave the house, you got to get on the subway, you got to get on the bus. And then, so on Sundays, I just wouldn't leave my little apartment, and I would stay in and I would study and I would make my maps. And I found it really useful for me for learning the Appalachians, the rivers, the major cities, all those things that are kind of sometimes hard to just memorize. But if you can visualize it, it just helps all the concepts settle in so much better. So, and plus you get to like borrow your daughter's crayons and markers, and that's, it's just kind of fun, right? All right. The SAT card. I love the SAT card. It's nicely laminated, so you can spill all the wine on it that you want. It's going to be fine. Just wipe it off, right? Bring it with you. You are going to use it a lot, and I want you to start using it and getting the hang of paying attention to wine, right? So there's drinking and there's tasting, and we do both, okay? I'm not going to go to a party and try to have a conversation with a group of friends and be like, hang on, I need to take a tasting note. I mean, I'll be drinking my bubbles and we're having chat. So that's drinking, but try to do a little more tasting, right? So maybe at the beginning of the evening, open up that bottle before your guests come over and say, I'm going to do my tasting note. I'm going to have a think about this wine. What am I smelling? What am I tasting? To start really using that part of your analytical brain. I want you to start to smell everything. So one of my pet peeves, as you know, is when students in class preface their question with, this is a dumb question. No, I want to hear your questions. They are no dumb questions. I also don't want to hear, well, my nose doesn't work. I can't smell. We can smell. Now, granted, if you have COVID and it has affected your smell, that's very real. So I'm not discounting that. That is very real. But the majority of us, we absolutely can smell. If you walk into your favorite coffee shop, you smell coffee, right? If you can visualize yourself walking down the lumber aisle at Lowe's, immediately you know what that smells like. You can identify that smell. These are common things that are in our lives. We can identify them because they're around us a lot. It's some of these other things that maybe we don't smell every day, or if we do, we don't pay attention to them and log it in as that is what we're smelling, that we have a harder time with. So all you need to do is just smell more things, okay? How do we do that without being a real weirdo? Okay. Go into your kitchen and open up your cabinets and see what's in there. It may have been 2 years since you've made those cookies, but you may still have the vanilla extract, right? Vanilla. You may still have a little thing of cloves, and those suckers have some staying power, I have to say. Cloves will smell like cloves for quite some time. So practice with some basic things that are in your household. Visit your local farmer's market. That is such an excellent source of all the smells, because these vegetables and products are made naturally, so they're not sort of engineered. The flavor's not engineered out of them. So if they have flowers, buy the flowers. If they have tomatoes and the herbs, the basil and the rosemary, all the plants that they sell, it's just a fabulous resource to help you build your sensory catalog, right? And it is just like that. And I always use this reference in class, and I love this show so much. If you've seen the show Drops of God, it's fabulous. And in that show, the heroine, whenever she smells something, she's sort of transported into this hallway, and she enters rooms, and there's filing cabinets in the rooms, and she opens up the filing cabinets. She's trying to pinpoint that specific aroma and flavor that she's getting. So I want you all to start building up your filing cabinet of aromas and flavors in your brain. Okay. And also watch the show because it's really fun. It's very, very excellent. Okay. Also, don't be afraid to say what you think it smells like, okay? There are some weird aromas and flavors in wine. It's not all just lemons and cherries, people, okay? And I want to hear it, and I want you to start thinking about it. Often we will smell something and think of a scenario. Christmas and grandma's house are very common, okay? But then we have to kind of, what exactly is going on? Is grandma baking an apple pie and I'm smelling apple pie? Am I smelling the pine leaves from the Christmas tree? We got to hone in on these aromas and flavors. Okay. And I am going to, in some future episodes, give you guys some tasting practice. I'm going to give you some homework. I think it'd be fun to do. Okay. So what are you going to achieve after you finish this level 2 class? What's the point? All right. Why are we doing this? Level 2 class. Well, the knowledge, right? So you will have quite a bit of knowledge. And I have students to tell me that they now feel, after taking level 2, much more confident in reading a label. Suddenly it's like, oh, it makes sense now. I know what this means. I know how to, I understand looking at this crazy German wine label, if it's going to be sweet or not and what to expect. They say that entering a retail shop, they know how to navigate the retail shop. They know how to think about pairing wine with food a little better. And if you tell your friends that you've taken a wine class, and that this may have already happened to you, well, you will forever be the one who's ordering the wine in the restaurant, right? You'll sit down, they'll be like, oh, let's give it to Mary. She took a wine class. And you'll always have to be ordering the wine. But the good point is that you will be able to navigate that wine list and feel like you get to grips with it. Okay? Plus, it's good practice. I mean, I used to be like, oh, I have to order the wine again. And I'm like, nah, I'm going to order exactly what I want. So it's a good thing. Also, you will discover new styles of wines and new favorites. I've had people come into a level 2 class saying, I'm a red wine drinker. I don't drink white wine. I'm like, that's fine, right? You do you. That's fine. And then at the end of class, they're like, Joanne, I now like Riesling, which, that warms my heart because, I love Riesling. So that's really fun. Or, oh, wow, I didn't know I liked Fino Sherry. Or, oh, wow, I didn't know I really disliked Fino Sherry, because that is a polarizing wine. I love it, but, I know all of you don't. That's okay. And that's okay. So discovering new styles and feeling like the knowledge is setting in. But I have to say, the number one transformation that I see with you guys, my level 2 students, after you take this class, is you've gained confidence in your own palate. And that's a really awesome thing to see. That's a really lovely thing as an educator to watch from start to finish, from day 1, class 1, from class 8. And I know, like class 7 and 8, when you all start to say, Joanne, I don't know if it's high acidity. I think it's more medium acidity. I'm like, they got it. When you start getting all feisty with me, that's great. It means that you trust your own palate. And I love that. That's exactly what we want. That's exactly what I want. I want you to feel confident, right? And then take that and continue. So, all right. Closing thoughts. Don't wait to the last minute. Please don't wait to the last minute to sign up for this class, okay? If you're taking the level 2 and you know you're going to take it, sign up, get the book, do all the things, okay? And certainly, if you're taking that 3-day intensive class with me, you have to sign up 2 weeks in advance, because I need to register you for that exam, okay? All right, we don't want to be caught in a pickle, so please register before. If you're taking level 2 with the idea that you are then going to be continuing on to level 3, this is important, okay? So that outline is important. Mastering this material is important, because you will have a whole lot more to learn in level 3 So you don't want to make it so overly hard on yourself. You want to master this level 2 material so you have that, carrying that forward into your level 3 studies when it's time. Okay? Great. Okay. If you're thinking of taking an upcoming level 2, check out our website, wineeducate.com. Side note, we also teach this class in the south of France. So at Chateau Campbell's on Mom and Dad's Vineyard, we have one this summer. That's 2025. And it's possible we have them in future years. It's also possible they may not be listed on the website. If you are curious and interested about taking a level 2 class in the south of France, email me, joanne@wineeducate.com. That's JOANNE. Okay. And we can talk about it. All right. Also, any questions, send them my way, please. I want to make sure you all feel comfortable with your decisions heading into level 2. All right. Have a wonderful week. And remember to smell everything. All right. Bye for now.